Greetings, thanks so much for being here. We're about to get started, but before we do so, very quickly, a couple of exciting things to know about on the very near horizon. First and foremost, we have Houses of Prosperity, the 2024 Life Force Academy Winter Solstice Retreat. This is something you can do from anywhere in the world. You can do it live with us. You can do it on demand throughout the holiday seasons on your own time, but it begins on December the 20th. That's a Friday evening. It ends on Sunday, December the 22nd in the afternoon. Amazing experience. Then just after that, we're going to have the New Year's Prosperity Challenge. This is the 10th annual, probably the most popular thing we do every year. 10th annual New Year's Prosperity 40-day meditation challenge. These are amazing. Wanted to give you a heads up on both of those things. Enjoy the class. Welcome to the event. We're really happy that you're here. We're about to go live in just a few moments. But before we lift off, there's a few important things we want to make sure that you're aware of so you get the best possible experience out of this. First of all, the sound current is supremely important to us, the musical experience. So if possible, we really encourage you to use good speakers or headphones to experience the class with. Second, if you have any pre-existing injuries, please take care of yourself, modify as you need to. Don't risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions and you're not quite sure if this would be good for you, please consult with your primary healthcare practitioner and make sure it's the right thing for you. Also, make yourself relatively comfortable. You can use a cushion, and in fact, we encourage you in our seated positions, meditation practices, to use a cushion. It helps lift the heart up, keep the spine straight, and it's more ideal for the flow of energy in the body and for the meditation experience. You can even be sitting in a chair with feet flat on the floor for those of you that are unable to sit in a meditative sitting posture on the floor. Just use a chair, and for many of the exercises, that will work perfectly fine. And then lastly, if you're having any problems with the video streaming, try refreshing the page, or if you see a gear icon on the video, adjust your resolution. If you're new to this type of thing, just take care of yourself. If there's something that you don't quite understand, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everything that needs to click will click after a few times of trying it out. Enjoy the experience. We're about to get started in just a moment. Greetings.
Namo Gurudev Namo Om Namo Gurudev Gurudev Namo. Okay, happy full moon. Greetings, welcome everybody. It's a good day. The idea for this whole thing is to just feel good and to connect. And that's the first always step of prosperity, is even being able to feel good in moments of calamity. It's not feeling good as like some superficial facade positivity. It's feeling good because we're connected to what life is. And then we can move from there, you know. And that's what they call in Punjab, Chardi Kala, which it means like joyful spirit, but it means joyful spirit, in particular in dark times. It's always staying connected to one's joy because you'll need it. You'll need it to cross that ocean, you know. So how do you stay connected to a joy when things in the world are crumbling around us? That's what prosperity is from this context. And so that's a beautiful thing. So any astrologer can tell you when the moon and Jupiter are conjunct. So we have a full moon right now, today, this weekend in Taurus, which is its moon's like kind of strong point. Taurus is a constellation of prosperity because it's the springtime. It's like bounty, it's luxury, it's comforts, it's riches. And so the moon likes to be there because the moon feels safe there. The moon is the waxing and waning feminine energy of life. It's not just the sphere up in the sky. And so when the moon is full, that's why we all feel it. You know, if you're paying attention, it's not that difficult to notice. And when the moon is dark, totally dark, we can feel that. You know, these are nuances. They're subtle energies, and yet subtle energies are substantive energies. It's the energy on the surface that has less substance. The energies that are more ephemeral are the ones that's like my mind is just constantly going this way and it's constantly going that way, and some days it feels real good, other days it's really struggling to find its contentment, to find any sense of happiness, to find any sense of passion or sense of purpose. Anyone else ever felt like that? Even when you're locked into your purpose, sometimes you get those days where you can like lose track of it. It's like, why the fuck am I doing anyway? That's very real, you know, and I think it's important to, you know, acknowledge those things because along the path you want to know, like, what are some experiences that others have had. We don't have to tread this path without the wisdom that's already been before us, you know. And so that's what these yogic teachings really are all about. How do you kind of walk the path of a dharma, and not somebody else's dharma, somebody else's purpose, but one's own purpose. And each of us, no matter if we come from some certain lineages or traditions or ethnic backgrounds, even within that, we have the dharma of perhaps like our bigger circles, those dharmas, but the most important dharma is the one that is totally unique to us and nobody else. It's the unique story of each of our lives. It started in this lifetime when we came from our mother's womb and we were born, and everybody rejoiced, actually, didn't they? Yeah, in most cases. Anybody's present with a baby who's born, there's rejoicing is happening. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen or ever experienced. And then one day we'll pass on and everybody will cry, you know. But that's love on both sides of that. It's love. Joy is love and grief is love. And in between is our life. And that dance keeps happening, you know. We have griefs and we have joys all through our lives, and both are love. And to grieve is not to be absent of prosperity. Prosperity in the moment of grief is when you feel underneath that this deep reservoir of love. And although it hurts so bad, you could almost feel like you just total fall apart and want to quit. Sometimes it can't hurt that bad, you know, and all of us will experience some catastrophe in our life. So I think there's some wisdom in saying, well, I'm not going to like ignore that and act like that's not going to be the case. At the very least, it'll be catastrophic when I die. I don't mean catastrophic in some horrible way, but I mean from the context of the human heart, it's catastrophic, isn't it? You know, to leave your loved ones, or to feel like maybe you're leaving your loved ones, maybe you're actually not at all. And so it's scary, you know. However, it doesn't have to stay scary. You can get inside this thing and be kind of that's what taking care of joy is. Taking care of our prosperity is it's staying in contact with that. And which we all have. Nobody doesn't take any like special tricks. There's systems, there's tools, there's techniques. But cleverness, I find, doesn't work. I've tried my whole life. Clever, you know, to try to clever your way into feeling good, feeling happy. And yeah, maybe for a little bit, but then it's going to dissipate, isn't it? It can't be clever. It has to be, just like a love relationship won't work from cleverness. It only will work from love. It'll only work from being genuinely authentic with each other. So we have to be genuinely authentic with us, ourselves, and our relationship to life. And that means becoming more aware of also my mental tendencies that are causing me suffering and causing others in my life suffering. Because I have those, But so do they. And so when that's the hardest part of yoga practice is becoming more aware of the mental and emotional tendencies that are under the surface, just under into the subconscious mind. So what we're going to do in this session today is we're going to first kind of get the prana, the chi circulating, moving, opened up, but then kind of help to kind of purify that type of surface density of the subconscious energies that kind of under the surface keep us, like, we're pretty happy, but also we're kind of depressed, We're pretty good, but we're also kind of anxious right underneath there. You know what I mean? The subconscious mind. And so it's actually kind of softened that up a little bit. And so it just falls away more easily. It's not analyzing it. It's not getting hard on ourselves and feeling guilty. It's like, oh, I'm such a schmuck. And yeah, so what? This is just how the mind is. And the only goal really is to be happy and to be able to experience love. And so in between that deep, wonderful reservoir of love, intelligence, that is life itself, creativity, and my own conscious awareness is the subconscious mind. Simple way of thinking about it. And so what yogic practices are is to help to kind of purify the subconscious channels so more easily I can get to the real me. Because what's obstructing me, my experience of me from the real me, from this perspective, is the subconscious tendencies, patterning of the mind. No problem. They're just governed by 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. Earth and water can make heavy depression. Earth and water can make sweet love. Air and ether can make total worry and total overwhelm anxiety. And that same vayu they call wind, air and ether. Vayu and akash, space and wind. It could give you total connectivity to the blissful field of life, and everything in between. So that's what some people call prayer. It's like uploading of love into the field of time and space. But love, as we say, like in a relationship, it only works if it's genuine. It's like at first it's a little like you're just trying, like it is a little bit like a clever trick. Like, let me see if I can upload love. But all that means is you're just in love and you're sharing it with the creation. You're sharing it with your feeling. You're sharing it with being able to express your wishes from your own heart into the really great heart of life in the privacy of our own minds and hearts. This we do, first and foremost, that genuine relationship. So very much, anxiousness is like that. In a certain way, it's like a more negative prayer, in that it's visualization of future circumstances that are unfortunate or going to cause suffering. And there's what the great basketball coach Greg Popovich would call appropriate fear. Meaning you respect your opponent. And in the context of here, there's there's not like anxiety is innately bad. It's just kind of a scattered version of the mind's deeper intelligence, the mind's Shakti, which gives you the ability to kind of see a little bit into the future enough to practice wisdom to prepare, and to be wise. Like these types of things. So yoga practice, these prosperity practices, all about is sharpening the mind also. It's not about just, you do this thing and all of a sudden checks come in the mail. Like, maybe, okay, but that's not the substance of it, Some people do experience those types of things, for sure. But who cares, really? Because at the end of, we care, on the functional, practical level, we need some money. Period. If you got kids, I got kid. It's got to get them a car and We need the resources for the dharma of our life. How do you know if you have a dharma hat with kids? Do you have a kid? Then you're gonna need some money for that. For instance. So prosperity is the resources that are necessary to travel a life path without feeling like you're in total scarcity or having to feel. So we want that. We want that for ourselves, and we want that for each other. That's why we can't stand to see poverty in the world. You know, it hurts our heart. We want that. We want people to have prosperity. It's a natural thing. It's not this thing we're so impressed, like these people are billionaires. Okay, how are they going to help? You know, who cares? You know, it doesn't, on the fundamental value of self-worth, it matters nothing. You know, we're all on the equal playing field like that. And so what we want is prosperity for all. But this starts also for ourselves, you know. We want to live, we want to be creative, we want to live this life, we want to be able to enjoy life because it goes like that. You know, so we generate the resources to be able to enjoy our life and be able to do something helpful while we're here. But to do something helpful is not some moral thing. It's the most fun thing. It's what puts us in our creativity. It's what really tunes us to what we're skillful at naturally. I'm skillful at certain things. I could never do I've never been able to do visual art. I've always wished I could. And people who can draw a person really beautifully, I'm just in total wonder and awe of that because I don't have that, you know. So we all have different things. And so it's getting into kind of tuning this magical instrument that is the human mind, body, electromagnetism, intuitive field, and be able to participate in creation in a really inspired way. Then prosperity comes. So first is Dharma. First, 4 great aims of life: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. First is Dharma. Second is Artha. Dharma is the great purpose. Artha is prosperity. So the 4 great aims of life: first is Dharma, second is prosperity, Artha, third is Kama, pleasure. And then 4th is Moksha, liberation. What are we being liberated from? We're being liberated from the difficulties of life and the suffering of life while still alive. In order for that, you must be in love. You know, you endure any pain in love, you know, be able to stay in contact with joy, because staying in contact with joy is staying in contact with the love that needs no stimulus from the outside. You know, the very fabric of our being. Yeah. And from there, we just need to do some practices or something, because what more can you really say? But that's prosperity. And here we are in the full moon, and you have Jupiter conjoining the moon. So if somebody was born at the time of this full moon with Jupiter conjoining the moon, they would call that Gajakesari Yoga in Vedic astrology. And it's things they would say in the traditional texts, like it'll make a person famous. So it has that kind of Shakti. Will it necessarily literally make them famous? Not usually, because how many people in the world are really truly famous? But you're famous in your village, you know, famous amongst your homies. You know, you have famous energy. It gives you a certain type of magnetism, and it's prosperous. And so that's what you have happening right now. So that's nice. 1 week away from next weekend, winter solstice. And my favorite time of the year to be doing these practices more than any other time, because it's just so conducive for bliss and insights and opened awareness, and to get really the insights that I need for the whole rest of the next year, at least until the summer solstice. What am I going to be doing? How am I going to be sharing my energy? What am I going to be utilizing my energy for? So I'm not just letting life take me, you know. To a certain extent it's going to, because life is powerful, you know. And so, see? All right. Come on the hands and knees. Let's start warming up. Let's move the body. Okay. Cat-cow. Inhale, the head is coming up. Exhale, the head is coming down. And it's nice and easy, and you just go with the rhythm for your own body. And close your eyes, and we're not in any rush today, really. You know, gonna try to keep this experience relatively tight, but the main thing is to, you know, don't be in a rush. And yet, we're kind of gradually coming alive. if we want to stay young and vital, then we keep the spine nice and supple. And then you develop strength, combined with suppleness, flexibility, softness of the body, but also, just as important, strength. And those two combined keeps the vitality nice and healthy. So keeping the spine supple is something we can do every day. You know? It's like the battery fluid, the cerebrospinal fluid of your whole organism, which you need to stay alive. So circulating, keeping the cerebrospinal fluids healthy, and really like the central computer, central processing unit is the spinal system, the brain, really the electrical system of the body, and also the mind. So breathe, inhaling head is up, exhaling head is down, and just make a nice smooth rhythm for yourself. It's less about stretching at this point, and it's more create a nice smooth rhythm and just let it swing a little. Go at a pace that feels appropriate for your body. Inhale, head up. Exhale, head down. Bravo. Come sitting again, cross-legged. And those of you at home that you want to sit in a chair, most everything we're going to do can be done in either a chair. We'll be standing a little too. Take care of yourself. Never risk exacerbating any injury. Always modify if there's something like that. Okay? Hands on your knees, and it's just like a light breath, inhaling up, exhaling down. The shoulders just kind of bounce. Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale, release. Let's use our breath today again. The breath is light but rhythmic, softening the upper back, neck and shoulders. Let them bounce. Breathe. Inhale, squeeze up the shoulders. Exhale, release. Hands on the ankles or shins. Try side. Inhaling, lifting through the sternum. Exhaling back. The breath is like a sniff in and a sniff out, but it has a nice deep rhythm. You don't need to extend to your maximum. You just it's like a softening. And close your eyes down. Listen to the breathing. The key of concentrating the prana in the body and thus strengthening your magnetism is to put your mind into a singular stream of focus. And we do that by closing our eyes and dwelling on the breath, its feel and its rhythm. Inhale deeply. Suspend your breath in. Soften the chest, lifting rectum, sex organ, navel, up and in. Soften the gaze, third eye space, up and in. Exhale. Very nice. Yeah, please come standing. Yeah, eyes open, pick a single point, index fingers to your thumb. And then like it's a yogi's march, like inhaling up, exhaling down. Knees, you're trying to bring up to like hip level. And a nice rhythmic breath through the nose. Pick a single point to gaze at. Open up the armpits on the inhale, circulating your lymph. Over 80% of immune intelligence is in the lymphatics. All those lymph nodes under your arms and in your chest, you know, it needs to circulate those fluids in order to stay healthy. When we become stagnant, the vitality drops. When you get the knees up to hip level, those big muscles of the legs, I'm gonna make the heart work. Good. It wants to, it needs to. In order to live, it's gotta be helped to work. The lymph doesn't have a pump like the blood does, so we have to pump it. That's why we gotta exercise, stay healthy, stay alive. Nice. So also with this winter solstice retreat, it's not only, all right, we're gonna spend a whole weekend on our prosperity, we're also gonna get in shape. Yeah, feel great. Okay, stretch up, inhale. Up, 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 stretch. And then relax, exhale. And then your arms are out like so, and the legs stretch out, like you see my friend Nima here. Fingers nice and firm, legs are strong, heart is soft. You inhale this position, exhale like this. And then inhale, use your core strength to lift you up. Exhaling down. Inhaling, filling the lungs. Use the core to lift you. Draw your pelvic floor in and draw your navel point. The navel is the abdomen just underneath your belly button. So over the winter solstice weekend, first things first, it's all about activating the navel point of the body. Navel point is not just the physical digestive point, but it's the energetic point for the whole Shakti of the human being, for the whole energy system of all of the channels of prana. As all of those channels, nadis, they begin at the navel point, and then they end out at the fingers and the toes and the brain, and they go into the heart. Your heart is the only organ with its own electromagnetic field. It has memory tissue. They call Tarpak Kapha in the ancient Ayurveda. In modern science, they call memory tissue, or the actual is emotional memory in the heart tissue. Wisdom, intelligence in the heart tissue. Ancestral memory in the heart tissue. Past life memory. And that just helps give us perspective on our life and what we're about. We need not remember past lives. We need to only be able to feel connected to who we are, connected with what life is about for us, and then how we are connected to the whole bigger field of living beings. And that our creativity is essential in order to serve and become prosperous. Be creative. Lean into your unique talents. Refine the destructive emotional patterns and start to transform them into creative emotional patterns. Fire can either be the greatest rage and destruction, or it can be total wisdom and radiance. Same element, two different expressions. One is its destructive expression. The other is its exaltive, creative expression. Inhale deep, up, fingers tight, firm, legs strong. And relax, exhale. Good. Have a little bit of water, then come sitting. To the shoulders. And then you inhale, so let it swing. Inhaling left, exhaling right. It's nice and easy, and you just let it swing. And you put the breath and the body together. Listen to your breath rhythm, and you circulate your prana with it. You open your channels with your breath rhythm, keeping the face relaxed, the mind soft, because we're enjoying. The center, inhale. Suspend the breath, soften the chest, soften the mind, lift up through the pelvic floor, rectal sphincter, sex organ, and then navel point, up and in. Exhale. Yes. Hands come into the Jnana Mudra, index finger seals to the thumb, palms facing up. The tongue will be out, and it's a diaphragmatic breath to stimulate the immune intelligence, immune system, thymus gland. Open up the lungs and the rib cage, lightens the heaviness and stagnant melancholy. So tongue will be out, and it's a diaphragm lift. On the exhale, it's a diaphragm lift. But you can't forget the inhale. So it's not aggressive, you're not inflaming the tissue. In fact, the breath kind of has a lightness to it. But the depth of the power of it comes from its rhythm with the lifting of the diaphragm on the exhalation. All these techniques just take a little bit of practice before you start to get the hang of them. Don't rush it. Try to make it easy. Close your eyes. Meditate on the center of your chest. Anahata chakra, heart field, heart energy. All that we love, all that warms our heart, all that we deeply, deeply care about, all that we wish for, all that we've lost. Seconds. nose, inhale. Suspend the breath. Underside of your tongue, roof of the mouth, press it. Lift up through the navel point, in. Through the nose, exhale. Inhale deeply. Soften the chest, lift through the pelvic floor. Underside of your tongue, roof of your mouth, press it. Through the nose, exhale. Uno más, inhale. Suspension of the breath, soften the chest, rectum, sex organ, navel. Soften the mind, under tongue, roof of the mouth, press. Exhale. Inhale. Raise your arms up. Shake the arms out. And just kind of shake so that also just kind of even the spine is able to it's just kind of that nice shake that just kind of helps adjust the spine, just kind of shaking everything gently into place, but also shaking off the stagnation, shaking off the tensions, just softening up, kind of distributing the prana a little bit. The prana we generate, then kind of distributing it. Okay, relax that. Stretch the legs wide open like a V shape, maintaining your meditation on dwelling on the breath. Inhaling center, turning to either side, then you fold. Inhaling center, either side, and other side, fold. But really, the main blissful thing is the breath. Feet are flexed. Energy in the toes. Groin area is softened. Chest, heart area softened. And every inhale, we can fill the lungs, but also every inhale, we strengthen. You press that leg down into the earth. Feet are flexed, energy in the toes. On the exhale, soften. The inhale, strengthen that leg. On the exhale, soften. Using the legs to kind of help the torso lift, not collapsing the heart. Good integrity of the posture. Take some time, but in no time, vitality comes up. Then the mind starts feeling happy. Vitality of the body, happy of the mind. And that gives us our ground in which we can then start to transform our more misery-producing patterns and transform them into more happy and love-producing patterns. That's the hard work. It takes time. It's baby steps, but it's the baby steps on the path of bliss all along the way. And then it's like you take baby steps even for a few months, and you look back, and it's as if you've traveled lifetimes. Such as, the glory of yoga. Inhale, center. Fold down, center. Lift up. Fold. Lift. Deep breathing. Fold. All the way out the breath. Inhale. Fold. Inhale. Fold. Inhale. Fold. Inhale. Lift through the pelvic floor. Sex organ up and in. Navel point up and in. Soften the gaze. Third eye space. And then fold. Exhale. Tuning the instrument. Relax, shake your legs out, come sitting. Okay, so 2 kriyas for our time here today. And I think you'll love them both. None of them too difficult, but they're all a little difficult because they're asking the mind not to do whatever it wants. And asking the body to kind of stay relatively steady. But that's how you build energy, build the magnetic force. But then what we want to start to do is take a moment, if you would, even close your eyes so you can just kind of be with your inner world and feel into what are your wishes for your life in this coming month, season, and year. What is wishing to really blossom in life for you? What is right there on the threshold, and if you really tune into it, or could be right on the threshold if you put effort into it? Yeah, and no need to be a head trip about any of it. It's just feeling. It's just a feeling, and we'll allow that feeling to continue as we move into the Kriya. The posture is the wisdom seal, the Gyan Mudra. This is Jupiter finger, index finger, Gyan, wisdom. Jupiter is like my astrology mentor always says, think of Lord Buddha combined with Santa Claus. So there's wisdom, it's like transcendent wisdom, but it's overflowing gifts as well. So Jupiter is the planet of prosperity. Okay, so this index comes to the thumb. Thumb is sense of self, ahankara, sense of what I am. So bring the wisdom to my sense of what I am. But in this Kriya, then you take your hands back and your chest forward like you're trying to press your shoulder blades together. And chest out, fingers firm. So, like that. Then, the breath is called Trinity breath. It's a 2-stroke inhalation through the O-shaped lips, and it's a 1-stroke exhalation, lifting the diaphragm through the nose, like this. The key is lift the diaphragm on the exhalation. Push all the breath out. It's the Kriya to connect the subconscious mind to the intuitive, meditative mind, to the wisdom mind. Then our patterns transform from their destructive habits into more productive, creative habits. Close the eyes down and either softly gaze up into the third eye space, up and in between the eyebrows and slightly up. Soften the gaze in that direction. Or you can open the eyes 1/10 and look down towards the tip of the nose. Either is just fine. And every exhale, lift the diaphragm. With every inhale, hit the rhythm feel. Pass the breath, the vayu, the wind against the lips, your sensitivity of the lips. First Kriya, hard work to kind of stay in it, because as you go along the energy kind of builds and kind of a pressure, a threshold kind of starts to feel present. Threshold between do I continue or do I relax? Well, try to relax into continuing. Sometimes it feels like it's like creating tension in the body. But if you just try, maybe allow some of that and try to soften and be, okay with it being relatively uncomfortable within the time of the Kriya. That's not acute pain. That's not exacerbating an injury. That's just ordinary discomfort. Try to press the shoulder blades together, pressing your chest forward. And then focus the gaze and merge into the rhythm. Not too much longer to go. After just a few more minutes, we'll lay down and we'll let it all kind of relax, and we'll feel nice and we'll feel blissful. Just see. But for now, stay the course. Hit the rhythm with the breath. Feel the rhythm. Put the breath in it. Listening. Put the diaphragm in the rhythm section. It's like a kick drum. Stay with it. Less than 2 minutes. Watch, it will take away our tensions. Soften into it. Sometimes hard to feel when you're in the turmoil of the subconscious, kind of being shifted and purification of the subconscious, dense accumulation in the channels of the mind. In Ayurveda, they call it Ama of the Manavaha Shrota. Kind of, toxic accumulation in the channels of the mind. But that's not toxic accumulation that is tarnishing the self. It just clouds the mind, so that it's hard to be in contact with the real self, which is a force of love, force of goodness, force of brilliance, a force of genius. Each and every one has their unique genius. Can we bring it forth? Baby steps, opening, softening, being sensitive to one another, and we also become happy because we become compassionate, and out of compassion flows the bliss of happiness. position, please. Squeeze the spine, lift through the pelvic floor. Squeeze deeply the spine. Through the O-shaped mouth, exhale. And then inhale, press the palms together. Center of the chest. Inhale, lift the pelvic floor, root lock, and press the palms with full power. Full power. And squeeze the spine and press the palms. Through the mouth, O-shaped exhale. Again, please, inhale. Lift the pelvic floor, draw your navel in, squeeze the spine, press the palms to bring out a deep inner strength so they shake, press them. Squeeze, exhale. One more, inhale. Squeeze, and release, relax. And then just slowly relax the position. You feel softening in the body, but kind of lifting of the energy. Heart is lifted, shoulder blades are released, mind is soft, heart is soft, and then simply listening. This listening meditation, please come and relax onto your backs for just a few short minutes. But very important after that you really relax for a few minutes and allow the body and the mind to assimilate and to adjust. Just relax the jaw, and relax the chest, and even the pelvis. And the feet and the hands, and the face muscles relaxing. It's only listening and deeply relaxing. Even if you fall asleep just fine, because it's total enjoyment of relaxing. What do you hear? The sound of the breath coming in and out. Maybe some noises off in some other part of the world. All of it is part of the listening space. And yet it's focusing on nothing in particular. Sunya, deeply listening. And by listening in such a way, maybe even sometime we'll start to feel and hear the voice of our heart. And wisdom for our life comes, and prosperity follows. Start to deepen your breathing. Feeling the body against the earth. Feeling the gravity, how the weight of the body feels lying against the ground. And start to deepen the breathing, infusing the body with the lightness of chi, prana. And begin to gently move your fingers and your toes, breathing through the nose, filling the body with the lightness of the chi. And then start gently rotating the wrists and rotating the ankles. And then inhale and rub the palms and make heat and friction with a brisk rubbing of the palms and rubbing of the soles of the feet in the same manner. Brisk and quick. And then cat stretch to each side. And now we get to begin. Really, this is like dessert. Hug the knees up to the chest, rock and roll on the spine. Really, all the hard work is done. Now is where you get to be magical and beam the mind. Coming up to sitting, please. And the left hand is on the heart and the right hand is cupped like you're holding water. Yeah, first have some water. Like this. Yeah, like this. But you're sitting nice and tall and regal. You know, it's not slouch and nonchalant. It's like bringing forth presence. So sit bones are connected. Chest is lifted. Chin is ever so slightly in. Your right hand is cupped as if it's holding water. It's very beautiful. It's both erect and yet soft, tall, and also elegant. Making an O shape with the mouth, you start to drink the breath like you're drinking some life-giving nectar. As long and as deep and as sensual and as slow as possible. Then the exhales through your nose. Finishing every exhalation, only then does the slow drinking inhalation begin. Listening. Listening to the breath, listening to the space, listening even to the mind, and yet not following any of the narratives it produces. Again and again, bringing the mind back to the drinking of the breath and the complete exhalation of the breath. And in this dwelling on the breath, vitality is stimulated, is tapped, and wisdom arises. Clarity arises. Love emerges. It arises out of the deep reservoir, the nucleus of the self. By simply softening and opening. This is what the yogis call the drinking of the soma. The Soma is like materialized moonlight, and it rejuvenates the bloodstream and brings nourishment and vitality to all of the organs of the body. The brain tissue, the tissue of the nervous system, refreshed with new vitality, drinking the breath in such a way. And for the mind, it brings sweet bliss. O my mind, dwell on the breath. Drink. Finish every exhalation. Heart is soft, yet held high. And after a period of time, it's like you enter in a bit of a twilight zone, and or it becomes difficult to continue. The mind becomes agitated, the body becomes agitated, and the idea of staying still in the position becomes a bit pressurized. All of these things are met with the breath. All of the greatest ideas in my life that has resulted in my relative prosperity, the beautiful things that have been able to been created have all come largely in moments of these meditations. And yet even then, in the moment of the meditation, you allow that, but it's not the goal. Even then, you go back to the breath. Those realizations will stay with you. Final moments. Drink your prosperity. Prosperity in the realm of resources and money and food. Prosperity in the context of relationship and renewal of love. Prosperity with our children and our families. Prosperity in our body's health. These are the great houses of prosperity. So whichever house is alive for you, whichever domain of life, drink the prosperity in that way. Drink the soma, the fully lit moonlight. Why not? Drink. It's unrealistic to expect significant expansion of prosperity without maintaining relationship with life's greater purpose. It's not something we can just do once and then we're all set, but rather, like any good relationship, it must be nurtured, strengthened, and from time to time renewed. Attuning to your unique prosperity path is one part work and one part bliss. It's the work of opening the body's energy channels, transforming the mind and bringing into its meditative, intuitive power, and then enjoying the bliss that emerges. Out of that bliss flows wisdom and clarity of purpose, the inner feel, the inner knowing of purpose, and that opens the gates to the prosperity path. Drink the soma. Now please, stay in this posture, and through an O-shaped mouth, we begin a breath like this, like make the exhale, inhale equalize and create a beautiful rhythm. Heart lifted, the navel is in the rhythm. Keep it going, then switch the hands. Now the left hand is holding the water, but it's become like an overflowing cup. Like actually, prosperity is always present. It's tuning into its state. And you realize that the great giving energy keeps on giving. Guru, Jupiter, the overflowing cup. The force of abundance. Always enough for everyone. And and even more. But in our miserable states, we're hoarding it and contracting around it, and thus stifle its flow, Now keep the breath, arms out, palms facing up like so. My diaphragm is in it, lifting with the fingers firm, heart is soft, shoulder blades release. Could you gaze the third eye, final kind of moment of building and expanding the magnetic field, like making a T-square, fingers firm, breath in the great perfect rhythm. And through the mouth, inhale, and lift through the pelvic floor. The navel in, now fingers tight like steel, and squeeze the spine. And through the O-shaped mouth, hold the posture, exhale. And inhale deep. Fingers firm, lift the root lock, squeeze the spine. Exhale, inhale. Squeeze the spine, fingers tight, firm, and very slowly relax the posture and exhale, and eyes soften down, and just being totally still, and feeling the full presence of your energy and your being. Allow the breath to flow in its natural, meditative stream. And from the heart, you can give a wish, feeling into what is the real deep, wonderful wish of your life, for your life. And then from my heart, I can go into the great heart, like this, what we're always connected with. Then we can even think of the ones we love, and we can, the wish of love, that it's called happiness, the wish of happiness, the wish that becomes, when others are suffering, love becomes the wish to not suffer, and thus freedom from suffering, eventually. And then when we can feel, actually, all of the blessings that we already do have in our lives, we can then feel the overflowing cup, which is called the wish of joy, boundless joy, Buddha's third immeasurable. And then when others find happiness, we become happy. When others become truly prosperous, we become prosperous. When we feel happy for that, genuinely, naturally in our heart. And true prosperity comes from love. So we can be happy even when our enemies, or those we find like horrible or wretched, or we can even be happy for their prosperity, because real prosperity is coming actually from real love and real happiness. That always, in order to exist at all, must include the concern for others. In the same way we have concern for our own well-being. And that interwovenness is a field of bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. Inhale. Exhale. Now raise your arms up and like this and shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them. And relax. But you see kind of how that feeling of when you expand into that bigger field of connectivity, it is expansive and it is prosperous. And so that's why these prosperity things, it's easy to think prosperity is money, of course. We know that that's not the case. Money without purpose becomes a major problem, if ever you've had even some. And almost like a heavy weight over time, it becomes very stressful. It can become very stressful. So it's always purpose. And then also, the money will be there. It will come. But that's just one house, Those are two houses. The first house is the house of self, the house of Dharma. And that's the main starting point for all of the life endeavors is the blossoming of who we really are, what we really are. What the Buddha called Tathagata Garbha, the wisdom nature, the reality nature at the center of every living thing. And then the yogis describe that as, as life, light, and love, Satchit Ananda. And that life gives rise to life force, air, ether. Chit is fire element. It arises as fire element, even as the digestion of the body, circulation of blood in the heart. But the wisdom of the mind, fire is light, photons. And then out of earth and water arises love, which is bliss, ananda. So when we're drinking the soma, the moonlight, and that idea, that way of working with it, which is a total reasonable way of working with it. This stuff has been practiced for hundreds and hundreds, and in some cases thousands of years. And it works. It stands the test of time. It's not new age. It's old age, relative to current modern, and then you get to see if it bears fruits. But it only bears, the real, you can in one session and be amazing, but the real kind of fruits of this stuff happens when you do it with some level of consistency, or, for instance, immerse yourself a little bit in it for a period of time. And so that's what next week's all about for us here. And we'll be back in here in the Life Force Academy studio in Northern California, but we'll be broadcasting to wherever all of you are. And that's also the houses of prosperity. That's in my mind. This is how I've been feeling this. I taught this course that we're doing next weekend over the solstice a couple of months ago in Spain. And I loved it. Personally, because I always feel like I'm trying to be the best student in the room in this sense. And it's, these things are not, like I was just, while we were meditating, I was just reading what I had written about the first session of this thing. That it's one part bliss and it's one part work, that whole thing. And, this stuff is not something that, you do it once and then, all right, it's set. It needs renewal, like a good relationship needs renewal. So that's what this, even just this is one of our shorter retreats. Our immersions are usually a couple days longer than this, but this on a holiday time over the solstice weekend. It's nice that it works out over the weekend this year, because we always do it on the solstice regardless of what day of the week it falls. And for over 20 years, I've been making sure that I'm in deep immersion with this stuff over the winter solstice. And since I was 18 years old. And so it's my rhythm. I do it, and it's always served me so well to carve out the time. And Friday evening until Sunday lunchtime. Yeah, so it's not that much, actually. It's going to be amazing. And it's enough to where it's substantive. And because, all right, here you get to this state. All right, one session. But then you start to build upon that and work with that and to spend a whole weekend. I do want everyone to show up with their Vedic astrology charts. You don't have to know anything about it, but we have, and we'll send it to you if you don't have it already, but we have on our website, it's a free Vedic chart calculator. And you don't need to know, it's not going to be a heady thing about astrology. It's going to be like today. We're going to be in working in the magic of it with some of the teachings, though, that go with it that helps the whole thing. So you have some basic ideas of principles of prosperity. And it's like, it's not in See, in the Indian tradition, it's not that like astrology's like one system over here, and then yoga's another system over here, and then Ayurveda, the healing system. It's like, no, they're all limbs that come off the same main trunk of the tree. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are the four Purusharthas, the four great aims of life, are central to Ayurveda. They're central to Jyotish, Vedic astrology. They're central to yoga. It's all the elements: earth, water, fire, air, space, the tattvas. They're all central to all of the Vedic systems. So one, you kind of already have the main thing for the other. That's why when we go into the astrological principles, it informs the yoga practice. And from the context of yoga practice, you're using it to kind of dive deeper into the psyche, into emotional tendencies. Because a horoscope can reflect that back to you in a way that's back to you about yourself in a way that's hard to see by analyzing our own mind, because it's by nature subconscious. But you know who does see it? The closest other ones in our life. They already see it. You see what I mean? So then you just soften into that. You see baby steps, not getting too hard. Everybody feels like they got some trash horoscope. And then they go in there and they start to confirm it for themselves. Yep, I knew it. But that's just deluded thinking, and we all do it. I do it as well, But what we're going to do is show you how to find your genius inside of there and find the brilliance of it. But more than finding it intellectually, it's to like bring it forth. You don't have to feel like your chart's exalted, you make it that way. But that takes work. That takes actual transformation of some patterning. But then what we also do with that is then we work with these great prosperity kriyas of Kundalini Yoga. They're fantastic and they're effective. And so we have a whole weekend of that. It's 6 sessions, a couple of sessions. All the music you've been hearing is Life Force Academy produced. I've had the pleasure of working with the greatest, for me, the greatest musicians. And a couple of them will be here. Simrat will be here. Salif will be here for a couple of sessions. All the music you hear in Life Force Academy, even everything I was playing today, is all recorded at these events, pretty much. And so there are special times of the year. Everybody's invited. If you get in now, it's a really good deal. It's like $4.95. And by the way, you don't have to be there live. You can do it. You can do it on demand through. You could do one session a day through your holidays or whatever works. Some people are with family. You might have to take your phone and go into the room and close the door for an hour and get some relief, and then you can go back and be a happy person again. Sometimes that might be the situation. Sometimes you're having so much fun you don't have time to do this, and maybe you'll do it after the holiday, and it's waiting for you to start your year with it. But if you join it, you get it, and it's yours, and you have lifetime access. And there are sessions you can do again and again and again if you want, anytime you want to renew your prosperity energy, which includes vitality, includes feeling good. Like I said, we're going to work out. But anybody can do it. There's no levels, really. It just kind of meets you where you're at, and you just go for it. You can read about all the sessions. I read one to you. I think it's interesting. It follows basically, so from the context of the astrology, so when you go around the 12 houses of the zodiac, you go through the 4 aims of life. It's one of the ways that we learn and understand houses are domains of life. So I was saying first house, house of self. Then the second house is so the first house is Dharma house. Second house is a Artha house. Third house is a Kama house, pleasure house. Fourth house is a Moksha house, liberation house. Fifth house, then you go through all 4 of them 3 times, 12 houses. So fifth house is a Dharma house, purpose house. Sixth house is a Kama, Artha house, which is, in this case, a work house, but also connected to prosperity. That's why if you read Generating Positive Force, that session, as soon as we make serious positive movement in our life, we can be sure that it won't be long before significant obstacles arise. Perhaps it wasn't as easy as it initially appeared to be. 6th house is not fluffy, but it's part of our life. And so if you ignore that thing, you can't ignore it, it's going to get you anyway. So it's good to be proactive with the hard work of life, and so you can work with it and not be worked by it. Sometimes we find obstacles and obstructions around every corner. Anybody? Anxiousness creeps back in, our sorrows get the best of us. Therefore, it's imperative on the prosperity path that we learn to generate positive force on a continual basis so that we don't become discouraged and give up, just as the floodgates may be starting to open. So that session, it teaches us how we use strong effort combined with open receptivity to overcome obstacles and work with the compounding force of positive energy. You use the tension of it to actually propel it. Yeah. So this is the idea. That's the sixth house. Seventh. So then seventh house is marriage house. That's a kama house, a pleasure house. Eighth house is upheaval and change. So that's a moksha house, a liberation house, but the most difficult house. Ninth house is the final dharma house, because we've gone through the four aims of life twice. Now you start the third final time, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th house. So the final Dharma house, that's why it's considered, especially by yogis, the most positive house of the zodiac, which is the house of true wealth. So whereas money, as in terms of resources, is a second house thing, true wealth, where now there's wealth, generational wealth and so forth, that's a ninth house thing. So it's good to know the difference between the two. And then you can work with that and tune in. And so then 10th house is the final Artha house, and that's called Dharma in action. That's the work you do in the world. In the modern Western context, it would be, a world context, be career. But now in modern times, career gets overemphasized in business, but really the true essence of that house is your unique Dharma in action. And that may be, nourishing these babies, or it might be taking care of the plants, and making, beauty, and not always money, money, money. And that's what is currently definitely collapsing, even though we're like holding on for dear life. It's not. That feminine energy is about to, feminine energy is not, of course, it's when it needs to destroy, it will. And so what we want to do is try to help to, even in our own lives, usher that in so it's less destruction, and more just soft openness. Yeah, Mother Nature can be very fierce, of course, we know this, and it's very humbling. So then the 11th house is the house of gains, the 12th house is the house of loss. Okay? That's why 11th house, even though it's a house of profits, it's a kama house, pleasure. And then the 12th house is also, all the spiritual houses are the hard ones, mostly. The 8th and the 12th are the two mystic houses, and they're considered hard. But if you like to be a mystic, then you don't hate those houses. Because the 8th house is upheaval and change, but it's also the house of Kundalini. And the 12th house is a house of loss, but it's also the house of losing your ego and losing your suffering and opening up into true liberation. And the 12th house is like Pisces. It's like dream-like and totally intuitive. So this is cool, right? So that's the 6 sessions of the winter solstice retreat, which is called Houses of Prosperity next week, go through the Dharma houses and the Artha houses. It's using that as the general kind of backbone, but not a headed trip. Well, you bring it up kind of like this, bring it alive. You kind of be in tune enough with it to kind of have a sense of how to direct the mind. But mostly what we're doing is we're coming in, we're attuning to what we're wishing for in the coming season of our life, in the current and coming season of our life, and really focusing on it for 6 sessions, and then going through different houses with it. You with me? And so that'll be our starting point, is to really in this kind of be thinking about that already, is all right, what domain of my life, or maybe 1 or 2, 1, great, if it can just be 1, but a couple, fine, but generally you want to concentrate energy is the idea, and not be too all over the place, so you can start to work with beaming the mind. This is once now the anxiousness is dissipating and you're feeling good and vital even for a weekend, then in that space you can really work with the mind. Otherwise, the mind's energy is always so kind of diluted because of all the things of life. So that's why it becomes a renewal, total reset of the system. Okay, so you're most invited. Would love to have you part of it. The reason we're even able to do these free sessions is because so many of you join these immersions, these retreats, and we're always so grateful for it. And you can read all the details there. It's a great sale to try to inspire you to join sooner than later. And it's going to be beautiful. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much for being here today. Thanks for participating in Life Force Academy. Even if you're not able to join next for the winter solstice, that's not within your wherewithal, check out LFA membership portal. It's really great. It's just $1 to try it out for a couple weeks. And New Year's a great time to check that out. But I highly recommend winter solstice. Okay, Satnam. Thank you, everybody. Have a great, great full moon, great weekend.
My first online session, the shift in my thinking, in my attitude, the increased happiness, it's like nothing else that I've ever done online. Nothing else.
Doing it online is kind of almost doing it in present. It's like really, you get the same exactly benefits.